हेलो
हेलो
डरा रहा है क्या?
बोल ना तू भी हेलो
इसमें भी hate.
खराब कर दिया इसने यार। ये बंदा सोशो पॉलिटिक्स करते करते एब्सोल्यूट हो गया पूरा।
हेलो हेलो हेलो।
अरे क्या आप एक्स्ट्रा कर दिया।
ओके
हेलो हेलो
स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं। आई थिंक वो टेस्टिंग कर रहे हैं क्या?
नहीं चल गया, चालू है। ओके
चल गया।
hello, welcome back to Queen is Dead. I'm Sanjeet. I have Dhruv and Aryan with me, and we are continuing the MAMI series with the third part and the finale, where we talk about from the films that we watched from day 6 to day 8.
And the farce that we watched.
Huh?
Mami being the farce.
Yeah.
Farce, okay, farcical, whatever. Mami was shit.
Okay, not the farce, then just shit.
Makes sense why they had the closing film.
If you've continued watching this with us on YouTube or listening to us on Spotify, please make sure you follow us.
And please tell us if you were at Mami and if you feel similarly, or if you actually had a good experience, please inform us, because we will want to
We
know
want
that.
to know why.
Yes, and how.
And then you can come on the next episode and we can just talk about things.
Yeah.
Politely.
Or we can recommend you to someone, or we can recommend ourselves to someone.
Yeah.
Ourselves is much easier.
I think so.
Yeah. Civil conversations
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
on Queen's Head Podcast.
जादू मंतर जादू मंतर जादू मंतर You are going into the future.
You talking to me?
They always be these clothing. என் பேர் மாணிக்கம். எனக்கு இன்னொரு பேர் இருக்கு.
Talking to me?
Queen is dead.
Okay. We're discussing what we watched from day 6 to day 8.
Yeah.
What is the first one?
The first film that you guys just watched.
No, that comes later. Let's go for Paradise.
हाँ आप लोग
Yeah, okay.
Paradise जाओ पहले.
Paradise,
Yeah.
which was directed by Vithange. I forgot his first name.
Yeah, a Sri Lankan director.
Sri Lanka. It's a Sri Lankan film. It's a Sri Lankan
Produced
production
surprisingly by Madras Talkies.
by Mani Ratnam. I think I think he might distribute it. I guess.
Yeah, I am.
But Mani Ratnam has connections from Sri Lanka since Kanathan Muttamittal also. So he might have some. I don't know. So it's a drama. Paradise. It stars Darshana Rajendran and
Roshan.
Roshan
Matthew.
Roshan Matthews.
Hmm.
Matthew or whatever. It is partly in Sri Lankan, which is Sinhalese, I think,
Yeah.
and in Malayalam.
Hmm.
It's a slow burn drama. And what do you think about that?
Again, one of those kind of films where the turmoil, the political turmoil is always in the background. Informing and imposing, leading to repercussions that directly affect and inform the lead characters' trajectory and arc throughout the film. I think their entire lives get defined through the course of this film, which is quite literally
Some decisions that happen.
very contrived decisions, to be more precise.
Like, tell me this story.
Yeah.
So it's following the couple's point of view.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So they are
like tourists.
Yeah, they are the tourists coming from Kerala, visiting Sri Lanka, and it is implied in a very sly manner that they are. I don't want to sound rude or indifferent to this.
Putting
but
something.
Yeah. So it's basically they are visiting Sri Lanka because it's going through a very bad recession time. So traveling.
Okay.
It's cheaper.
And you know,
It's a great
just.
touch, huh? I love.
It's a great touch.
I love the.
No.
Yeah. I love how
film acknowledges
immoral
it.
that
Exactly.
thing is. Yes.
No. The fact is, the thing is that right when the film started with its opening credits and when it's established that this couple is visiting Sri Lanka during this time when the Rajpakshas are being threatened and
No,
overthrown.
they're removed. They're overthrown.
Oh, they're already
Yeah.
overthrown, right? So then we saw, unfortunately, what has happened since the inflation that has been skyrocketing in that country since a while now, and how citizens have taken to the streets protesting against police brutality and a lot of the shitty politics and policies that the previous government came up with.
Yeah.
So the fact is that I told Sanjeet, right, right after the film ended that I felt that this film felt very urgent and in the moment because I think just last week Sri Lanka revised its travel policy where
Yeah.
it's basically said that
Passport
a
on
lot
visa on arrival.
it's basically giving a lot of free visas on
Sure.
arrival to a lot of countries,
Yeah.
a lot of mainly Asian countries
Yeah.
to boost its tourism economy and to help it recoup from whatever recession and
Yeah.
inflation it's going through.
Okay.
So this film felt very urgent and in the moment, and I genuinely loved the film up until its last act where something very contrived happens and it tries to whatever
Draw parallels
yeah
to
जो भी तब तक subtext था it then
Okay.
very actively and desperately tries to make that the text
Okay.
by its final
Yeah,
shot. The final shot again, it's effective. The final shot is very haunting in a way, and it's very
खराब मत करना sir.
it's very
But that's it.
it's very poignant also in that
Mhm.
regard, and it makes you meditate upon its themes for a while. But then again, because it felt contrived, the way the characters reach to a certain
When is
point.
Do you guys know when it's releasing?
I think pretty soon it will come out on Netflix. I
Okay.
think in a month or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. It had its this
Are
was
you
its
saying it like the marketing team or did they
no I
He's just
saw
making
some
assumptions.
posts.
अच्छा okay I was asking कि इतना एक confident है दूसरा
no.
zero confidence पे बैठा हुआ है.
I saw the actress's profile and
Acha.
she's been actively marketing the
Okay,
films.
okay.
I forgot her name. Again,
Shana Rajendran.
brilliant performance
Yeah.
up until a few scenes that felt very
It kind of reminded me of this another Malayalam film called Arkaryam.
yeah.
अरे you've talked
2018,
about that, yeah.
2019.
No, it came out during pandemic.
During the
2021.
lockdown. Okay.
I think just before the second lockdown, it had
Okay.
released in cinemas.
Yeah.
It was directed by Shanu John Verghese, I think, the
Hmm.
DOP.
Yeah.
Very atmospheric, very slow burn.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of reminded me of because
Sure.
this is not really atmospheric, but the slow burn element
Hmm.
kind of was working. It's not
Sure.
like
Hmm.
it's
It's a
just there because it
it's a
kind of
couple's
made sense. Deterioration, yes, that is kind of happening slowly, and you realize with the exploration of characters also, it's perfect. But yeah, it's a good film. It's not great, but yeah, you can watch it for the drama and try to possibly, if you have that kind of taste, you might like it. You
Sure.
might not.
And again, even the editing and the way the entire film is composed, I think it's very meditative in that regard,
Yeah.
very moody.
Yeah, very.
And in the way certain films and perspectives change and blend into the flow into the next scene, I think that was extremely seamless, at least up until the first half of the film. And then I don't know what happens. The film feels this active urge to make its themes.
ठीक है, मतलब maybe उनका choice होगा कुछ
Yeah.
करने का
And
because
then again,
otherwise it's
it's
just
seen-
very simple though, right?
But
There's barely any
Yeah.
plot to it. There's just one thing that happens and then it kind of.
But that's why it works because it's always in the background. It's always we know the context.
But you need to add some more drama to it, right? It
Yeah.
cannot just be.
Yeah, I
some of the
guess.
two movies which I do very much like,
Yeah.
but it's
Tell me.
about what you're saying about drama. It
Yeah.
very much
Tell me
scales
so that I'll just tell you if it's that or not.
Force Majeure by your favorite director,
Yeah.
Ruben Östlund. And very similar. Force Majeure was almost inspired by this. The Loneliest Planet by Julia Locktev.
I don't know about the second film.
The second film is
add that on
essentially-
my watch.
No, but essentially these are
So that I can come up with more absolute terms, phrases.
so Loneliest Planet you watch now, you get amazing sleep.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Loneliest, not loneliness.
वो मेरा खुद का थोड़ा मतलब.
Next
Yeah, go
one,
on,
sir.
go on,
Next.
go on.
Yes.
अरे, आगे तू change करना देखा list इसके phone में.
Loneliest Planet पे संजीत.
Okay,
Yeah, go
which
on.
one next? Delinquents.
आप पहले घाट के बारे में बोल लो ना.
Ghaath.
हाँ.
So it's directed by Chhatrapal Ninave, who surprisingly was staying in the same dorm as both of us. And
He's like us, he's broke. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Please remove.
Please remove this.
No, but he seemed like a very, very
He's a very nice-
down to
Okay.
earth.
Nice.
Aryan coffee is there. You can.
Please, before you make us go through.
I'm not removing any of this.
No, but I genuinely like the way he was talking with us.
Very
exactly.
nice human being. Pretty sweet guy.
That's why I felt
And-
guilty on not attending this.
And it's
scene.
a very well
क्या
made
हुआ
film.
Aryan? क्यों नहीं attend किया?
I went for the film.
I went for a different film.
The Burden, he went for the Burden at that time.
Okay, okay.
So I watched Ghaath. Really interesting film. It kind of is focused on 3 different characters.
Yeah.
All of them belong to this somewhere in the Maharashtra land,
Why is Aryan laughing?
but belong to tribal community.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's again about like the Maoism and
Sure.
whatever against suppression
Yeah.
a little bit. But it still focuses on each character,
Yeah.
and it's divided into 3 sections: Jal, Zameen, and Jungle.
Yeah.
So it kind of is focusing on 3 different stories and how they kind of come into it.
According to the podcast.
Brilliant performances.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant performances by everyone.
Yeah.
I think one of the best sound designs in any film ever in the history of mankind.
Fuck off.
इतने सारे वो मिले ना इस पर स्टार करने के कुछ बोलने के लिए नहीं बच्चे का आंख नहीं मारता
No, but the sound design is actually very immersive in general. I think I like the camera work also because
Sure.
it is kind of informing of the space where it is all happening as well. Because the landscape is very important because it is all about
Location,
land.
na? Okay,
It is about land, the tribal land, how it's
Yeah.
so, and it's directed supremely well. The performances are fantastic. Good film. Please watch it when it comes out.
Yeah.
Also, interesting story. So, it's produced by this production house called Drishyam Films, which is or was more famous for producing a lot of indie gems.
Sure.
It started with in 2013
Oh,
with
yeah.
Aankho Dekhi, and made a lot of other films like Newton and all those
Yeah.
as well. At some point in 2019, it was acquired by Geo Studios.
Of course.
And yeah, and then Geo Studios kind of took certain films and didn't let them release. Ghaath being one, and the second being Aadhar. These are the only films I know of.
Yeah.
I don't know about the other films.
Yeah.
And sometime in 2021, late 2021, Chhatrapal Linave, the director, he started out a petition that he wanted his film to get a release because he had gotten invitations from a lot of festivals.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of storm. People really protested, like online protests.
Of course.
For Geo to release the film.
Yeah.
And finally they won. I mean, people won. Geo let them have the rights, and I mean, Geo put out
Where
the
did it
film.
premiere?
Berlinale.
Berlin. Okay.
Oh wow. That's
Berlinale, and it got good reception there as well.
Sure.
And then finally it's here at a Geo festival. So
ironically.
it's come full circle for them.
Yeah.
So
Good
I'm
guy.
very
I
happy.
wish he went to the stage and put up a freaking middle finger.
Should have. It wasn't the premiere which I went to, so
Sure.
it was good reviews here as well.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, good film. Watch it. I would really recommend.
Does it play the reason why I was skeptical on attending and watching it that particular day is because I was already mentally very taxed. But I read in one of the plot descriptions somewhere that it's a psychological thriller.
No,
and I
it's
was
not
like,
a
no, I'm not
psychological
in that mood right
It's not a psychological thriller.
Okay.
It is drama. It's a very solid drama. So
Yeah.
it's not anywhere near psychological.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
there are these interesting characters that you'll see. You'll be like, oh shit, very interesting
Okay.
personas. Yeah.
Got it.
We can move on to
Delinquents.
Delinquents,
Oh wow.
which only Dhruv saw.
Yeah.
At
3-hour
home.
heist art house. Not
At home.
No, you watched it at MAMI.
No. I will be honest. We don't lie. Pablo festival nahi hai, sir.
We even changed movie ke names just because we don't want to lie. We changed the numbers. 18 days in.
Acha, हाँ, exactly. Yes. Anyways,
Honestly, it's the best
the
picture.
Delinquents, thanks to Mr. Amartya. We will not disclose how I eventually did watch it at home, but I did watch it at home
Yeah.
because I was sick with a cold and whatever flu that mommy gave me. And like Sanjeet, I was rolled up in the blanket watching the Delinquents.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Delinquents is by Rodrigo Moreno, who's a Argentinian director who's I've not seen any of his other films, but I've weirdly stumbled upon Argentinian art cinema in the past, whatever, 2 years or maybe 1 year. And or maybe just
What comprises, like, do you possibly name?
yes.
few films?
Yeah, so I think the most popular film, the one sort of that gained the most
Secret
repute.
in the Rise.
Huh?
Secret in the Rise?
Oh no. I'm talking about the recent ones, not Secret in the Eyes. The one that I got attention from, I heard it about the Most Fan Festival, but never watched it, was La Flor by
Okay.
Mariano Linas. I don't know how to pronounce his second name, but
Mm.
he's sort of the orchestrator behind a lot of these projects,
Mm.
you know, and which are like multiple.
Mm.
La Flor is like ginormous. It's like
Mm.
12 hours long.
Okay.
And it encompasses 6 genres, 6 stories. Some of them
Mm.
finish, some of them don't finish.
Yeah.
You know, it's very ambitious and everything, and it's like one thing I do really want to see. But the other projects he's made and like some of his other
Yeah.
collaborators have made are I've watched. One of them is a 4-hour thing called Extraordinary Stories. He directed that.
Mm.
It's amazingly like a hybrid between we were discussing this novel, TV show, and
Mm.
film.
Okay.
It like unfolds as all three of them in a weird sort of way.
Mm.
Same goes to my second favorite film of this year still, Nora Citterella's
Mm.
Trenke Locken,
Yeah.
which is
You've spoken about it.
we've
The
spoken about that.
Best
But
of the year list.
yeah, so in Delinquents is somewhere along those same lines.
Okay.
It's not the same
As DNA. Yeah.
as a DNA, yes.
Yeah.
But it's like divided into 2 parts, so it's like a very much, you know, you can. I did it like I watched 1.5 hours.
Mm.
Wherever the thing breaks, I took a break and then I
Mm.
watched in like half an hour the second part.
Okay.
So like, you know, this I was allowed because I watched it here.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know if the cinema ka thing made 3
Mm.
hours continuously, how
I
much
think
that.
it was possibly
Yeah.
continuous.
I think it might be it might be a deterrent. I'm saying
Oh,
like
okay.
watching it, like I do like the idea of having an interval, mulling over some of the elements of the first half,
Yeah.
and you
Mm.
know just then sliding into the second.
Mm.
Yeah.
But what is so interesting about these films is, and I now recalling whatever I noted, is that they are like radial films, what I call quote unquote radial films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The point of start
Mm.
is the heist genre in this Delinquents.
Okay.
Then the idea is to move from it somewhere,
Mm.
Okay.
but it's not a movement towards or anywhere. Like that point is the starting
You're
point.
saying
Like your
the
cri-
movement is not purposeful,
Yeah.
or the objective is not purposeful.
No,
It
no,
just
the
arrives there.
objective is so I think in a traditional heist movie,
Hmm.
right? Sometimes the heist is placed in the middle, sometimes in the beginning, whatever. But
Whatever.
everything relates to the heist in a way where you know you keep on coming back to that
Mm.
heist in some way.
Hmm.
In this, it's like the beginning is the heist,
Mm.
and then it's like it unfurls into like different directions. Like the heist becomes just the starting point, and then you kind of just like move away from it in a way where
Hmm.
it's like, because I think ultimately the film is also about freedom.
Yeah.
It's about
Mm.
what the quest for freedom in this sort of, you know, it's
Mm.
again what you're talking about, how something like Fallen Leaves with like the whole large ant and everything, you know, sort of signals this whole idea of financial despair and
Yeah.
everything. And this,
Yeah.
like people, bank employees essentially
Mm.
ask the question,
Mm.
is it better to be in jail for 3 years
Or
to
rob.
be 20 years a bank employee?
Yeah.
So sort of like that, and then they sort of, you know, move away
Mm.
from that whole idea. So, and the idea is to go away into like from the city, which is very, you know,
Mm.
oppressive, etc., into nature, which like that's a very normal dialectic, right? You have
Yeah.
like nature and opposing them.
Since forever.
But
Yeah.
there's something unresolvably mysterious about it.
Mm.
Okay.
That dichotomy,
Yeah.
the nature thing, city thing, it's
Mm.
not solved. You know, it's not like nature will provide like this answer to whatever you're seeking.
Hmm.
Nature is so mysterious in this. Like it's just like when they go there, like there's this section where you're following a character and then the film just for like at least like 20 minutes just stops into like this total detour which you couldn't even expect would come in this sort of movie.
Hmm.
And it goes and you're just like with them, and then it sort of, you know, gently furls back into a sort of routine, and then it sort of, you know, again moves. So I think the thing that I really respond to in these films is just going along with them in ways where I probably, I mean, the director knows.
You're
but
saying it's very organic the way it
It's
moves.
just, and that's what I guess the slowness which is probably going to be a deterrent for a lot of people. It is a slow heist film, essentially. The heist is one of the least
Exciting.
quote unquote exciting
Hmm.
heists you'll see. It happens at the beginning and then it's like whatever.
Mm.
And then, but yeah, it's again, multiple things. It's about freedom. It's about like whatever the fallout when you do something, what repercussions it has for people around you. How, what is the cost of the freedom? Is it possible to attain freedom, etc.? It becomes very much existential and whatever philosophical in that sense. So I do like how these films begin as this one point and then just move. And then which I think I don't get an experience in a lot of other films. And one of the things, the last thing I'll mention about Delinquents is that it's very, and it's the case with the other Argentinian films I've seen, they're very light on their feet. They don't have like this portentousness to them. It's like moving along with them isn't like a tuck off, I don't know,
It's not a task.
but yeah, no, I was about to say tuck off.
No, I'll call it.
No, but like that whole, I feel whenever you go into like a serious art film, you almost have to push yourself to like,
like an
go
obligation,
through it.
make it an obligation.
Yeah, in these films, you just like it has that sort of just going with the vibe sort of feel to it. So yeah, I do really appreciate that. So yeah, Delinquents, great film. I've been thinking about it. I will watch it again sometime because I think it might be one of my favorites of the year.
And what about La Chimera? I think it's also
La Chimera, which is the much
the
more
only-
popular title, I think, out of these two.
And
So
yet
Italian
Sanjeet
film,
and I haven't seen.
Alice, Raul Catcher. Yeah, I mentioned it.
I really wanted to watch it.
You
I
guys.
really did want to watch it.
So yes, I mean, I liked it less than I expected, but I did like it quite a bit. It's by Alice. I think it's Alice, not Alice. Raul Catcher, who made Happy as Lazaro, last year's Le Pupil, which got nominated as a short film for the Oscars. And she dabbles in very much magical realism, fantasy realism, sort of that realm. I mean, I'm a sucker. Yeah, I'm a sucker for that sort of film in general. And I think the big problem with La Chimera, I'll get that, is it takes quite a long while to get going. So much so that I had about 12 or 13 walkouts in the film, and I was like, I mean, this was my third film, so it might have been also the fact that I was a little tired. But I did definitely feel that at least till like it's a 2 hour 10-minute film, and at least till the first hour, I was like, I can't see the conflict. Where is the conflict? Like, where are we going with this? Not in a sort of, oh, where are we going with this? But like, in a, are we just gonna do this? And like just have like people sing and like whatever and like whatever. Which I'm like, but I kind of knew it'll go in some direction because it's by her, and I've seen Happy as Lazaro, and it sort of uses a similar template and then goes in some direction. When it does go in some direction, which I'm not going to spoil, everything sort of just like comes together in a way which you can like, get. And images that earlier felt like, do we really need to show that? Are we really going into that angle of a character? Become really, really profound, poignant, and moving. And I think like the more it went on, the more I sort of, warmed up to it. And the ending, I think, is genuinely magnificent. Like, I think it's such a wonderful tying up of a lot of the images of the first part that I thought, wow, like, I mean, I like the internal wow. I was like, I'm like, I was waiting for it to be tied up, but I didn't know how they're going to tie it up. So, like, that's the great thing. And then when it did, I was like, you couldn't have done it more like perfectly. So, it's like just that satisfaction, and it's a bittersweet satisfaction, is what I'm going to say. So, but yeah, her films are very, even though this again seem very light on their feet, there's very, very much going on. They are, in fact, I think her films have like that veneer of magic that hides a genuinely, like, I don't think she likes a lot of I don't think she sees a lot of hope in people, essentially, is what I'm going to say. Like, majority of the people, a majority of how people interact, I don't think she sees that as something that can sustain
Okay.
and that sort of comes into play very much
Hmm.
towards the end. But yes, please do watch it. I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure it might get a nomination.
Hmm.
It's wonderfully shot, wonderfully acted, etc., etc. So yes,
Okay.
and very unique, which I think is the thing you go for in these festivals, right? So
Right.
yeah,
It's not playing anymore, right?
yeah, but it's acquired by movie, so you'll get it soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Nice.
Sanjeet will talk about his festival favorite now.
Dilli Dark.
Yeah.
Poorly made film.
Yeah.
Surprisingly very poor.
Yeah.
I have no idea how this film was got selected. It's a
Hmm.
potent Fukre 3 plot.
Yeah.
Should have been used in that
Yeah.
instead of what they made.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it wouldn't have made 95 crores as you told.
No, they would have still made one.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah. Whatever said and done. So I'll tell the basic story and then we'll move on because there's not much I would like to talk about.
I think this is the same what Aryan is going to do for the next one, and then you're going to talk about.
Oh, are we going to talk about that?
Yeah. So this film is centered around this African guy who's from Nigeria, and he's come to Delhi,
Hmm.
and he's looking for a job and settle and make it big in India.
Yeah.
And the kind of racism he faces and what he does to make it big, blah blah blah. That's the basic story. The filmmaking is very rough around the edges.
Hmm.
It just feels a little too amateur for me.
Mhm.
Okay.
I-
The approach or the filmmaking?
No approach, filmmaking,
Technique.
everything.
Mhm.
I would just say, and the guy, the lead actor, is a star from Nollywood,
Okay.
the Nigerian film industry.
Yeah.
Oh.
It
It's
might be one of those co-production thingies then, which
To boost
occasionally
the
happens.
industry.
No?
it's not a co-production technically. It was financed by I think Film Bazaar, which is even more
Sure.
surprising.
Okay.
Hmm.
But it was part of the competition.
Hmm.
Just I don't think so. It has the integrity of a good film.
Hmm.
Sadly,
Yeah.
I feel the idea was still interesting,
Mhm.
but it never makes
Makes sense,
up
yeah,
for
of
it.
course.
Yeah, but yeah,
Hmm.
that's it.
Yeah.
Move.
Hmm.
Let's go on to the next one.
Aryan, you can sleep.
Priscilla, go for it.
Yeah, surprisingly, even I was amazed that I never felt sleepy while watching Priscilla,
Surprising.
even though I had like a rough, very long day. But yeah, so the thing is
Hey,
that
Priscilla is by Sofia Coppola, huh? It's not some like whatever an indie.
no, but still
Closing film.
Closing
it's-
film.
It was a closing film. Surprisingly, they went for this high, very Oscar buzzy, Hollywoody title.
Oscar buzzy, but like yeah.
No,
whatever.
obviously it
अभी
is
ये बोली
pristine,
होगी यार।
pristine Hollywood है ना. It is very pristine.
कौन देगा फिल्म यहाँ पे मामी को?
हाँ, मतलब, so the thing is, you know how after watching films like Jackie or even Spencer, you
I
would
was gonna buy
want
me back
to.
my ass. Be sure.
Yeah,
Sorry.
What?
I would want.
कौन देगा फिल्म मामी को? मैं क्यों बोल रहा हूँ? I'm too
No,
sleepy
no,
यार.
no. Yeah,
India's emergency के बारे में बात करनी है सर उसके बाद सोच.
हाँ, I know.
yeah, emergency. Yeah, makes sense why you would want to talk about that after discussing Priscilla.
Priscilla.
So the thing is that you know how after watching certain films like Spencer and Jackie, you would instantly be interested in knowing more about that character's
I think
life
you're assuming
like-
quite a bit of
from Spencer.
from some.
No,
plot.
but yeah, whatever. Matlab, you'd at least it would spark that curiosity
Yes,
inside of you,
I
right?
understand, yeah.
That I want to like. I don't want to compare obviously Killers with this, but
Yeah. Huh?
after watching Killers of the Flower Moon,
Huh?
that after watching a certain kind of movie about this certain kind of person or tribe or whatever community, you would want to go back.
Jug hai sir.
You would want to go back and read about it and get the full context.
अच्छा
of it,
ऐसे
right?
बोलना तो कोई और हिस्ट्री फिल्म भी बोल सकता था. तो डरा दी.
Recent, yeah, recent example. So I was like,
Sorry.
after watching Priscilla, I had no interest or no curiosity in even Googling her name. And that's how, so Sofia Coppola, I've always had a very weird dynamic with her filmmaking career. I think that all her films are very, very well made. They're very well directed because she clearly knows what she's doing. I just think that whatever themes that she
Chooses.
whatever themes that she only chooses the same theme over and over again. Rich and elitist people feeling lonely and alienated in these giant huge spaces.
उसको वही कहानी आती तो क्या
No, but the thing is that it's just
गली में
not
बनाई थी.
it's It's just the kind of filmmaking,
Mm.
even though the filmmaking is constantly good, even in Priscilla, it's a
Yeah.
polished film by
A competent film.
in any, yeah, it definitely is, and that's where it will probably get like at least 2-3 Oscar noms. I'm damn sure about that because it is catering to that voter base, right?
Mm.
So but it does nothing after you've finished watching it. It doesn't.
Hmm.
Curiosity ka to jana hi do, like even it, I don't think it's the kind of film that would stay with most people even after they've left the screening the next day after they wake up. And again, there's not even a single scene in the film, if you look at it individually, that's badly directed or badly edited.
Okay.
It's just the way it's just the approach that she takes to this story,
Hmm.
a very chronological, conventional approach where we just cut back from one phase of Elvis and Priscilla's life to the next, with some of the scenes that were supposed to feel disturbing and off kilter felt caricaturous and satirical to an extent that the audience, I could hear some of the audience chuckling weirdly enough. And I don't know, it's just a very forgettable film, which
Hmm.
but it's
Sahi
very
hai na?
curious because
Sahi hai na? Last
I think
film of MAMI.
but it's very curious. So
Hmm.
I just think that some of the very overwhelming discourse that this film has, again, I heard from someone, one of the press personals I met 2-3 days back. He watched this at BFI, okay, apparently, and he told me that Priscilla is going to be a very divisive film, that people
Sure.
will have very
Extreme
one noted,
opinions.
yeah, extreme opinions about this film. And I watched this film and I was like, it's just an okay film. I don't
You
think there's
get extreme
anything.
reactions
There
to
is nothing, according to me, there's nothing debatable about this movie,
it. Yeah.
because it is so singular and one noted in its very been there, done that, seen that 1,000 times approach, that it is just pointless to talk about this film, to be honest.
Amazing.
I think some of the more overwhelming response is also coming from this space because
Elvis.
yeah, because we saw what a phenomenon Elvis became last year, and just because this film sits in this conversation and pushes back against what that glorified,
उसमें
but
hyper editing, इसमें like
no, even
Oh,
in
yeah.
that film, from what I remember, the last scene where his wife comes and confronts him basically in
याद
the
ही नहीं
car.
है मुझे तो
I remember that scene only because I like its ending, because it
Mhm.
slows down. It's I don't think it's a bad film. It's just I don't click with that sort of filmmaking, is my point.
Hmm.
But Priscilla, it's the kind of film that everyone would click with this sort of filmmaking. But I don't want to quote Ebert, but films that are made for everyone are like made for no one in particular. So
I find it very hard to believe that Sofia Coppola's films will be made for everyone.
no, but I mean, she's made Lost in Translation and
Those
Marry.
not for everyone.
Everyone,
I
I don't
think-
think she makes any film. I feel she
Really?
makes films for like very select people.
She has her
then
own niche.
again, she definitely has her own niche, but then again, I don't see any kind of evolution in her filmmaking.
Yeah, वो तो नहीं है
And that's
ना.
why I say that it's one note.
But
and-
no, but I think like I'll watch it, of course, because
Yeah.
that's because I like. I mean, I like her
Great
style.
performance, great lead performance.
Yeah, but I like whatever style she imposes on any film. I'm not like
But
crazy about her film, but I do
even
find
the
them fun.
style in this film constantly gets punctured by the film's need to constantly push through this momentum, to
Sure.
keep this momentum of giving us snippets into their life
Like biography
chronologically.
करने के लिए.
Yeah, and it's, I get what she's trying to do by the film's end. It has one of the reasons why I think you won't like this at all is it has wo Spencer wala ending. It literally has that ending. I don't think I'm spoiling it.
Metaphors कितने हैं सर पहले ये
नहीं,
बताओ.
metaphors उतना एक दो है. Oh, and again, another thing that might give you some reservations about this film is that it has one of those drugged sequences. I don't know what to call that. Yeah.
Sequences में मुझे क्या problem है?
No, but I think, haven't we talked about this, that most filmmakers don't know how to
Yes,
film and
Dan Aronofsky के पास जाओ सब.
yeah, exactly. Like we talked about this sequence from
Exactly.
Booksmart or some movie, right?
Hmm.
How it felt very odd.
yes.
It
Of
has
course,
one
you
of
cited it, right?
Yeah, it has one of those sequences here, Priscilla,
Acha,
man.
okay, good.
Yeah. And
I will watch it, Aryan. I will tell you. I'll make sure I like it, and then we will argue. Sanjeet,
So
wake
yeah,
up.
Priscilla was fine.
Wake
I
up,
mean,
Sanjeet.
yeah, I
वो
would
सो
have.
गया, वो सो गया, sir.
I would see. That's how
See.
one noted this film was. I would have rather watched Maestro. I mean, like, fuck this film.
socio-politically बोल दे.
नहीं उसमें नहीं है ना वरना वरना तो मजा आता
Socio-political
था
में तो आप जा रहे हो, sir.
हाँ full on
The last and final film is Vikramaditya Motwane's new documentary called Indira's Emergency.
Or India.
India's emergency. Yeah.
Yeah, but like it's Indira's
So
Emergency.
it's Indi
Yeah.
bracket R
Hmm.
bracket A
Yeah.
comma
Apostrophe.
S.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Full stop because apparently this is the full cut that we.
So yeah, that is the biggest thing. I
Yeah.
suppose that's the revelation for me and Sanjeet.
Yeah.
We went today to watch it in the morning at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
We went 1.5 hours
Yeah, easy,
drive
easy.
to go. Our film was 1 hour 50 minutes.
53 minutes.
Something like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
And we watched it with the impression that this is just a small cut of the larger project.
Larger, yeah.
So we essentially
Condensed.
we thought it's a 3 to 4 hour
Mm.
project which has been
Mini
released.
series.
Yeah, like a mini series, and it's been released in the cinemas for the festival in a cut
Condensed manner, yeah.
form. Yeah.
Mm.
But we got to know by our esteemed source, Varun Bhake,
Paji.
Yeah.
Varun.
yes,
Yeah.
that it is in fact the final cut that we watched.
Which is sad.
Yes, and that the final cut we watched is actually going to be released in the 3 parts that the film is split into. In
Yeah.
any case,
Oh, okay.
online.
What do you think? Quickly.
What do I think?
Yeah. about the
Okay,
film.
so I mean, okay, I think that. See, the thing is, I don't respond to this sort of filmmaking.
Yeah.
And by that I don't mean Vikramaditya Motwane sort of filmmaking, because he's
No,
a
yeah.
very good filmmaker, and this film / documentary, whatever you want to call it, is well assembled, well edited, has good animation, is well scored,
Scored,
is
yeah.
well narrated, narration which has very nice language to
No,
it.
it has that emotion of just telling what kind of emotion
Yes,
it's
but
kind of trying to push.
my thing is always so for me the big caveat to the film's success is it's retelling,
Mm.
it's educating, it's
Hmm.
those are the 2 main things it's doing.
It may act
Yeah.
as a gateway
Yeah,
to a lot
it's
of
for
people.
yes, it,
For outsiders, is much more of
Yeah.
an inside look, actually.
yes.
Mm.
And for people who kind of know about it or know about it, I think
This
it's,
will give you more details or
yeah,
whatever.
it'll give you more details, but it is, to me at least, devoid of any
Mm.
emotional punch, in the sense
Okay.
that
Yeah, absolutely.
or emotional drama even. I feel a lot of the times the film to me felt like it was speed running through a lot of things. So
Yeah.
I was mentioning to Aryan how it was,
Mm.
headline,
Yeah.
heading, sorry, subheading,
Mm.
bullet points, but those bullet points don't have paragraphs to them.
Mm.
And if those bullet points don't have paragraphs to them, you only have like the major stuff.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
don't have like
even though I'm not, even though I
Headings,
couldn't watch it,
subheadings.
unfortunately, I think for a story like this,
Yeah.
of
Yeah, it's also
how-
we have to say like it covers about 50-60 years, not just the emergency
Yeah, yeah.
period.
because the context is necessary to understand where
Yeah, it begins
the
1942,
independence.
42. An engine.
1980 something. 40 period, 40 years.
40 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think for a film like this, it would be important to have those paragraphs, right, under
Yes.
the subheadings, because
Yeah.
there's so much internal political rivalry
Yes.
and dynamics that led to the Congress splitting into two way before Indira became this controversial figure in the party
Yeah.
who
They
would
address,
always
so whatever you're saying, they address.
Yeah.
It's just that they don't explore.
Expand
Okay,
or
okay.
just, why,
Is
what,
it-
where,
do
when.
you think?
who.
I mean, I'm still manning his case probably because I've not watched it, and
Yeah.
I would want it. I would want to love it because it was one of the most anticipated documentaries films of
Yeah.
this festival for me, but I couldn't watch it.
Mhm.
So, does it do you think a possible excuse could be that they didn't get the proper archive that
No, I don't
might
think
have
so.
gone?
They have a lot of archive, and whatever archive they don't have,
So-
they fill in with animation.
So
Oh, okay.
basically for people who are listening, the film is mostly comprising of archival footage and animated sequences, which
Lovely animated sequences also.
yeah, which kind of put Indira Gandhi as like a more mystical persona.
Yeah, a lot of canted angles in those. I was like,
Yeah.
going wild with all
Yeah,
these canted
and a
angles.
little trippy also at times. So I think all of that is well done, but I feel so it's also co-produced by Scroll. And if you've seen other Scroll documentaries, this is very much like it.
Yeah.
So what I mean to say is, I think since that, since Scroll is involved, maybe the storytelling is kind of servicing
Educational.
to their sensibility.
Yeah.
So possibly, I'm assuming that is possible. That
No,
is
no,
the most
if
possible
its
reason.
goal is to educate, it succeeds it very much.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have
It-
any filmmaking flourishes that or any groundbreaking.
Yeah, educate. I mean for like
Inform
like
actually,
schools.
not
In
educate.
schools.
It informs.
In schools, you can
Okay.
educate also.
Okay.
Like you're
Yeah, I don't think so. It'll
Yeah.
educate because it still is talking about certain human tendencies which they would like to avoid informing students of
Sure.
certain age at
Okay.
least,
Okay.
because maturity nahi hoti na to understand it.
Informed, yeah, I think you're right. Then informed,
Hmm.
which is fine. I mean, it's just I suppose Vikramaditya Motwane set standards in a way where when I went in, I was expecting not just information. Is my thing.
Of course, I mean,
But don't you think that he might have had some contracts with some streaming services, and the entire point of
no.
taking such a big event in India's
So it's
political
it's
history?
produced. That's what I'm saying. It's produced by Applause Entertainment and Scroll, and it's not been picked up yet by any streaming
Yeah.
service yet.
Oh wow. Okay.
So whatever said and done, if streaming service was coming on board, I don't think so. They would have compromised
Yeah.
on the film.
And
That was
also,
pretty sure because Motwane is still a
Yeah.
pretty big name in the industry at the moment.
I honestly because we had also thought that this is a condensed version of an extended version. The thing is that a lot of the shortcomings of the film, because there's not enough time to cover everything, would be solved when it has
We
room to breathe.
excused it.
Yeah. So I mean, in my head, I was like ticking it off like that. कि
Yeah.
अगर ये condensed version है तो आधी problems तो मेरी उसमें खत्म हो
Negate
जाएंगी.
हो गई, yes.
Exactly, and then I'll have to see how the film is sort of
Yeah.
approaching each
Yeah.
of them in a different way. But if this is the final version, then it's
So,
a problem.
If I had to still make a case, I'll still say it's very engaging because
It's
it kind of
engaging,
is
yeah.
using certain elements to put you,
Yeah, I mean, some of the-
with the narrative.
The music is very like ominous throughout.
Yeah,
It's
very little punchy to put you, in the driver's seat.
like
kind of thing.
especially the moment when the emergency is announced. I think that has like a really like the music before that is like building, and then when
Building
the
and
emergency
it's-
happens,
yeah.
it's like totally like ramps up. into,
little
like, yes.
different vibe
Yes,
also.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I think like
But does
those things are there.
Does it reflect or echo any of the paranoia that the people at that time, especially journalists and
Yeah,
It
like
does cover,
Yeah.
but again, it's just covering.
headline, subheading?
3 short stories you get, which are so short. I was like, ye to you need at least 5 minutes on each of them.
Yeah.
At least that's the least.
wow.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's just and see, again, it's the whole idea of attention deficit, audiences, whatever.
Yeah.
If they just want info, they just want to be, and it's again not a bad documentary. It's perfectly engaging, perfectly watchable, etc., etc. But I think perfectly watchable is
It's
Not what you
People
would
would
associate with
Yes.
Motwane.
Yeah.
Still decent, I would say.
Is
I
this
mean,
his,
watch it,
is this his first documentary?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's great that he's trying.
No, trying. Of course, that's good. I mean, the animation
Yeah.
sequences, I think, are the ones which are the most
To
expressive.
look out for also. I
Mhm.
feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you'll see how they're trying to use the animation to convey emotions which maybe archival footage can't.
Stories also.
Yeah, and stories also, yes.
Yeah.
So, but there is very little tension, which I
Yeah.
think is the central, because documentaries are not again stayed.
But
and boring
again,
and
I think, I know what you feel about documentaries. I think I'm not a very good judge of documentaries in general, because I feel documentaries are more about constantly informing or providing information in general.
I understand that, but
In general.
I feel the way sometimes documentaries move and are like edited, everything.
No. Of course, all those still exist.
Yeah.
My point is, but when you're getting information, you're kind of learning in documentaries, right? So I kind of always feel overwhelmed because I'm learning so much more. But here I feel I had a certain idea about the history.
Yes.
So I was not gaining that information. So
Yeah.
I was judging more or less the quality of the film.
The
So
way
I-
I approached
Yeah.
trolley times, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
the
No, but I think what you're saying, my approach in general with documentaries is that only.
So
Okay.
that's
Rather-
why I told you, Dhruv, I think you would love The World is Family. The
Yes,
Anand
exactly. The
Patwardhan
Anand
stuff.
Patwardhan.
So I think it is the proper meat point of this personal and
Political.
political and information and knowledge and having that emotional
Yeah.
core.
Yeah.
So The World is Family again. I watched it at Regal and it was like almost full and it's a huge auditorium, right?
Yeah.
And the crowd was very much into the experience. They were laughing
Yeah.
along. They were all those emotions that the film was trying to evoke at certain points. It was also very contemporary and
Yeah.
it's obviously a very, very personal stories, so
Mhm.
much so that he's not even sent
Yeah.
screeners for this film documentary
Right,
just
right.
because it's too personal of a story for him.
No,
It's
so
basically-
just to
Yeah,
like turn it back to Indira's emergency.
Yeah.
If that's personal,
yeah.
this is detached
Yeah.
academicism or whatever, how you wanna say it.
Mm,
But it is, to me, it felt like
mm.
that thing never left my mind. I was like,
Okay.
someone has very arranged all this information well for me to
Mm,
digest it. I
Yeah.
appreciate that,
mm,
but I don't have any, compelling
mm.
thing
Emotion.
to, respond
Latch
to it.
on to it.
Yeah, and I think that personal thing needs to be there
Yeah.
for in documentaries also. I think
Mm.
for you to go into it.
Especially when you're watching a documentary in a film festival, you would want that, certain choices that get made that push the filmmaking to a certain extent,
Yeah.
and
I
boundaries
don't
of
want them to
that.
break it. It's just, I mean,
Yeah.
there are decent touches.
Not
in
just
this.
breaking the boundaries,
It's
just
the
challenging.
making. Yeah, challenging yourself.
Like just reshaping and restructuring some of those.
But I feel a lot of these things work much better also, like because the period is so long. Because
Yeah.
all this. I was thinking even of like something like what's that thing that one year, some years
The
back.
underwater thingy. The
No, not that.
Octopus
No, not
teach-
Octopus Teacher, boss. No, not that.
Hmm.
This what's that guy's name? O.J. Simpson.
Ah,
There was a whole doc on him
yeah.
in which 2 parts of the 5 parts were dedicated to context, which I thought were the best parts of the doc.
Mm.
It laid out so much info,
Information,
and
yeah.
it did in a. So what I'm saying, like if your thing is that big and you're
Expansive.
learning, other examples are Wild Country
Oh yeah.
by
Osho.
about Rajneesh and the
Yeah.
whole Sheila, which then
Yeah.
apparently he muddied everything, Shakun
Mm.
Batra and the thing he made.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
So,
not even go there.
oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
We want to deep water, I suppose.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think
What-
we might go for
what
movies
would be
tomorrow.
We might if we.
I'm done.
No, Sanjeet is done yet.
I'm done.
I may go for Perfect Days or The Monk. I don't think Perfect Days is happening anymore. Yeah, but I'll try to go for The Monk and The Gun.
Dhruv is going for Agra.
Oh yeah.
I might also go for Do Not Expect Much from the End of the World.
Taradu Jhoot movie.
Yeah, it's too long. otherwise
Title is
it's like-
great, huh?
Yeah. Interesting.
That's why you're going.
Of
na.
course.
Do not expect much from Agra either.
I don't.
सोने वाला हूँ यार
मैं
मैं
भी
तो
बस
मैं
सो
पॉडकास्ट में सो रहा हूँ मेरा वीडियो
Wait, video में डालियो.
ये नहीं डाल रहा वीडियो
मत डालियो. You were sleeping, so no,
Yeah.
you can't put.
थैंक यू I really appreciate you guys helping me on this.
Thank you, Sanjeet, for not.
Thank you, Dhruv.
Thank you. Thank you, Aryan.
खत्म
Absolute Aryan.
Absolutely.
Socio-political Aryan.
Stop speaking.
Red Sparrow Aryan.
Hi on.
Hi Aryan.
Hi. Hi Aryan.
Hi
Hi
Aryan.
Aryan.
Hi
Hey
Aryan.
Auntie.
You have been there, na?
Okay. Thank you so much for listening to this episode.
Sanjeet,
Yeah, because मुझे last line तो नहीं आता.
yeah.
Please support us by sharing this with your friends, family, whoever wants to listen to cinema podcasts or just podcasts in general. Please share it with friends. Share it with.
Yeah, Aryan क्या कर रहा है?
Photo देखो, थोड़ा promotion.
अरे यार, okay. And you can follow us on Spotify, and you can review us on Apple Podcasts. You can follow Dhruv on his Instagram page at Terminal Cinema. You can follow Aryan on Aryan Talks Film. You can follow Pixel_Baba. You can follow us on queensdead.film podcast as well. Again, thank you so much for listening. This is the end of the episode. Also the end of the MAMI series, because whatever.
We're done.
We're done with
खत्म,
MAMI.
खत्म,
Khatam. Okay. Khatam.
खत्म, सब खत्म.